welcome back to Derailed. This is season 1, episode 14. My name is Gregory, and also I called myself Gregory. And as always, I'm joined by Harrison and Adash. What's up, guys?
I'm
Use my full
fine,
name,
Gregory.
Yeah. How has it been for you, Gregory?
Harrison, how do you pronounce Adash properly?
Adash?
You're nowhere close.
Adish?
Adash? I don't know.
No. Yep,
Isn't that a Pokemon?
Yeah, it is.
Yep.
I try to remember how his mom pronounced it. Fuck.
Adharsh.
No.
Adash? Adish?
Radish.
Adish?
No, it's the Dersh part that trips every foreigner up.
Dersh.
No.
Adish.
Yeah, that. Okay, you said it right once. Yeah, that. Others.
Adish.
I'm not otters, no. Others.
I didn't say otters.
You did.
But now I am going to call you otters.
Okay, cool.
All right, we're here with Harrison and otters. Today it is Adash's turn to choose a topic,
No, it's not.
and that
He's
Today
playing. He's making it
turn to
sound like
choose a
the way he did his re-record.
I'll tell the story of that in a second, but let's hear the topic, Harry.
Oh my god! All right, so I have 3 different ones we can choose from.
Oh god! Every time Harry's just got multiple choice every time.
Oh yeah, because I can't make decisions, and also I
fair.
think the first one I thought of was dog shit. So the first one I thought of was love, crushes, and romance. And this one came out because I reread Nozoki Anna.
Hey,
and so rereading it was a very different perspective, and I mean not different perspective, but had me
you're in a
thinking.
relationship.
Not just in a relationship, but it's like also like a lot of the drama and romance,
Because
like
Harry
mangas and
fucks,
animes.
is that it? Huh?
Yeah.
Harry's a fuck, man.
All these like romance and
fucks.
what's it called? All the romance and drama mangas I've read recently, like thinking about it, they're like interesting, but I feel like the MC is always wrong. Like he always does things wrong. And I wanted to like either expand on that or also think about how we've taken like just how we take like crushes and romance and stuff like that. And it's like the whole thing of like choosing a girl in a way like they always have like maybe multiple options, and in a drama he doesn't know who to go with, and in the end he doesn't go with the main girl, goes with the second girl, and then realizes this was a mistake. They break up, and then he goes with a different girl, blah blah blah. It's like the common trend of kind of going from girl to girl, and then in the end he finally realizes, hey, I like this girl all along, I'm gonna do whatever I can with her. I'm just sitting here like, bro, the other ones were like perfectly fine. I mean, except in Nozoki Anna, where the first girl
I was like, in
cheated on
Nozoki
him.
Anna, I'm not sure that quite applies.
The second girl was like golden, and it was like in the end he was like, oh yeah, I'm in love with Imaru, blah blah blah. But I was like, if in my head I was thinking like how I like got with Benea and everything. I was like, I don't think I would have the same kind of thought process of it. I mean, obviously it's a drama, so it's a little exaggerated, but that was where that came from. So there's that one.
I see.
Then there's workplace etiquette, like not really etiquette, but more of like workplace culture, how you are in a workplace, how you think, your opinions on workplace culture, certain things like that. That one I feel like is maybe more streamlined because we may all have the same thoughts.
This man said Moibi.
And then the last one is really?
Bro,
and the last
you
one
actually
was
just have a spread. I thought they'd all be like similar topic, but slightly different.
No. And then the last one is your personality when you are alone.
Oh, that is interesting.
Because I was like, we all have our. I mean, this also kind of came from Nozoki Anna, the whole thing with the peeping, because it's like your true self.
Right. Like what if
I
someone
feel
was
like I'm
peeking through a
missing
hole?
out on love.
Yeah.
And then like, that's just like, what the fuck is this?
It's not bad. Honestly, like there's moments
Nozoki
that I'm sitting
Anna,
here.
let me explain for Dash and viewers, or I don't know why I say viewers, listeners. Nozoki Anna is a Japanese manga that is written by a female and is very relationship drama focused, and is also very explicit. it's there's a lot of graphic art in there.
Yeah,
but it's always been
graphic,
like one of my favorite.
It's not
mangas, just 'cause
doujin level.
It's really. it's not quite Dojin level, but it gets close a lot of the time. But it hits on a lot of things about relationships and stuff, and it is a very long trek through mostly unhappy relationships and a lot of trauma on both sides until they finally get to the end. But
so here's the thing.
It's a good read.
Both of us said ooh at the same time. Here's a third option. So I think that one automatically wins. Even if we exclude the fact that for the first one, I'd have to do research to catch up on whatever the fuck.
Just read this one.
No, not really. That's more of on like real life. Because I was thinking it came from Nozoki Anna is what I was thinking. Right. But like our actual like how we handled crushes, how like
well.
Yeah, I was like, it's not even that. It's like I don't even know if I have that much to add because like I've had crushes there. Here's the episode for that. I've had crushes and I've just not really interacted with them.
It'd be like that. There's not much to say, honestly.
I got rejected like 4 times in 5th grade, and then had like 5 crushes throughout middle school. One of them died.
We'll come back to that in like 10 years. I give us 10 years.
10 years, okay.
Right after we have our kids episode, we're gonna have the
I'll be less cynical.
Yeah, exactly. I totally forgot about that. What was the second one again? The workplace. Yeah, I don't know if I can add that much to that either.
Yeah, that was when I was
with like teaching and stuff. Yeah, and I did work at Red Bull, but yeah, no, I think the third one. But yeah, I think the third one is the way to go.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I think
So personality when you're alone. Your personality when you're alone.
Your personality when you're alone, when no one's watching, and it's just you by yourself. You know, either butt naked or.
That should be interesting.
Cock out.
Yeah.
Wait, why is that an either or?
So I don't know if Adash knows about this, but last topic recording, or no, 2 episodes ago, episode 12, the one with the eulogies and stuff, the topic recording we did for that, my audio like really messed up. The original audio, I might actually put some of it in this episode, so this is what it sounded like. You guys can't hear it, so just imagine you're hearing it.
Yeah.
But it was bad. So I So I was like, like I could just try to edit it, but it would just sound bad. So I was like, what if I just re-record my part? Because it was one of our shorter topic parts.
God.
So and it's like I didn't want to like script it out and time it. So instead I just played it and then recorded it back. But the thing is, like, I did it like in the middle of the day while like my mom was teaching, and then like so I was like talking a lot calmer than I usually do with our like podcasts. And then also, you know how speech jamming works, right? Like if you hear yourself like a second before. It was working like that. So I was like talking like this the whole time. If you go back and listen to that episode and listen to the topic portion, I sound really, really strange because I'm like this. And then there's one part where I laugh. Where I laugh in the original recording, and my laugh in the original recording is like, and then my laugh in the remake is like, so good. I was like, okay, I listened to it and I was like, I gotta redo that. And then I started laughing because of how shitty it was, and I was like, you know what? I'm keeping it.
Okay, the thing is, I was going to listen to that podcast anyway, because that's easily miles above the best podcast we've done.
I actually just sat through the whole edit and didn't like skip through. I actually listened to everything because it was
now you have something to look forward to. Me being like stoned and confused.
I'm ready. That is the funniest podcast we've done. So. To be fair, if there's any way I want my... Sorry, I was just going to say, if there's any way I'd like my name mispronounced, Otters is a pretty good choice.
Otters, yeah. Otters isn't too bad of a name.
I mean, you get bullied in middle school, but...
Yeah. All right, before we get to that, what's going on?
I had a lunch and learn today. And so... this is my second one I've had for the electrical team. And so the first one we had, it was just, we went out to lunch with this guy, and he worked for a company that sold light fixtures and stuff. And so he was like, sometimes people out here will like present different light fixtures and like, you guys can send us specs and we can make things out for you, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, but the thing is, light fixtures are light fixtures. One company might sell one thing, another company, and it's like, it's all the same shit. It all lights up. So it's like more of who do you know and who you like. So it was honestly just really nice that one, just to talk and just that we all just had a chat and hey, it was free lunch and I was eating.
This reminds me of Summer's dad's job, where he gets to pick what inventory.
Oh yeah, the clients. Just take him out to lunch.
He gets to pick who he works with for suppliers for whatever company he works for. So because of that, bro basically just gets wined and dined all the time.
Yeah. So that's a lot of the lunch and learns, and then this one's actually educational. It was actually pretty interesting because it was for a control system company. So they do the controls for lighting, and then they have like specific products that control the lighting, dimming, and zoning and stuff like that. And it was really interesting to learn all this kind of stuff because this is a side of controls that I've never really seen of, because when I worked at a warehouse, it was more of controls on what's it called, sensors and conveyors, more mechanical stuff versus the lighting. This is just purely the how each zone or the communication between the lighting fixtures and the dimming console, whatever, and all that was cool. The food was Jimmy John's. It was pretty great. I got to eat as many sandwiches as I wanted. They had cookies and chips.
I don't think I've ever had Jimmy John's before.
It's not haven't bad either, because they don't have chicken as a meat.
How does it compare to like other sandwich places?
I would probably go ahead and get a Harry Cedar sub, but I was like, it's free food. The bread, like, apparently I think it was Jimmy John's bread is like supposedly really good. The bread, honestly, I don't know how old. I mean, I granted I don't know how long it was like sitting out, but I'm assuming that it was it was catered the day of. I mean, like the fillings. It was like one was a tuna, another one's like a ham and cheese, and another was like a roast beef and something. I mean, they were fine, but the bread was just kind of it was just bread. To me, I think Subway's bread is a little like fluffier. This one was like more firm, but Harry Cedars I think is a good middle ground.
Subway's
and
bread
probably
is
my personal
decent
favorite
in taste, but like they douse that shit in sugar.
I feel like Subway is like it's so inconsistent.
It's why it tastes decent. Is they put a bunch of sugar.
But like, I mean, the Subway's is also like more fluffy and kind of like softer, which is which is nice. But like, I think Harry Cedars is a nice middle ground, and then the Jimmy John's is a little more firm than I'd personally like it.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't think either of us have tried Harry Cedars subs.
I don't actually remember.
I feel like you have
Harris Teeter's pizza at least once or twice. I can't remember if I've had a Harris Teeter sub, but we literally live like right next to a Harris Teeter, so I don't know why, but like I feel like Subway subs, they're just like so because sometimes I've had like really good Subway subs, and then sometimes I've just had like some of the worst sandwiches from Subway. So maybe it's just a fast food thing, but it's just like,
I think it's a Subway worker mentality, bro. I feel like they They like the managers want customers, but the workers don't want customers.
they do not care.
Because like, I've never really seen
me off.
Packed
last
Subway.
It affects. Last time I went to a Subway, bro, oh my god, it was an option to tip. Motherfucker, I made my own sandwich.
That's super common these days. Is like the option to tip at just the cashier.
And I never will. I don't care. It is your job to do that. That is literally your job. I
just don't understand. Like, what wasn't the whole point of tipping like for service?
Exactly.
Like extra service, like them coming to your table and doing things, right?
Yeah, it's
it's just wages being pushed onto the
onto the
customer.
It's like places that don't really like it, it's like they just take your order. It's like, why am I tipping I guess it's the cashier and then the cooks when it's like
when they're just doing their job that they're paid for.
It's not like you're doing anything extra, like at least for like waiters and like wait staff. That technically should be carried by the restaurant, but like
that also
it's tipping culture in America. But then sometimes if they have good service, then maybe you'll tip them a little more than a couple more, like $1 or $2 more than before. But like normally,
it's fucking stupid because
I feel like delivery is somewhat like that too. I mean, it's part of our culture now, but if you do think about it, it's like, wait, why is there a delivery fee and tipping for the delivery being their job?
the only time I tip like decently for delivery is if it's snow, because then I'm like,
I mean, if they go fast and keep the food in good condition and stuff.
I think if they get there like super quick, I'm like, shit. I mean, take like $3-4. I mean.
But like, a lot of the time it's not even under their control, so it's hard.
Yeah.
Like sometimes it's like they get there slowly, but it's not their fault, or sometimes they get there quick, but there's just no traffic. So it's it's interesting. Tipping culture in America is definitely problematic to say the least.
Yeah, there's so much wrong. That could be a whole podcast, honestly.
It could be. I went to Japan and it's like I knew the whole thing about like not tipping there, but it felt so like refreshing to just like pay them for their service. It's just like it's insane.
It's just so weird because like, why are tips also based on the price of the bill? Why does that fucking matter?
Yeah,
like a percentage. Yeah,
like,
instead of like based on the service, like
none of it makes any sense. Yeah,
it's very convoluted. That said, I'm sure we're all like good tippers, at least like compared to a lot of people. I think.
Nah.
Okay, never mind. I'm sure me and Harry are at least good tippers.
I tip when it's decent service, but
what percentage do you guys normally do?
I do like if it's like bare bones, like they don't really talk much or they don't really do anything, like they, at most like every once in a while I'll come by and fill the water. I'll do like 15%. If they're like, making small conversation and that's actually like, entertaining and, I'll be checking up here and there, making sure we're taken care of, I'll do like 20%.
Yeah.
But it's like, honestly,
I typically go with 20%, but
yeah. I don't know. It's one of those things that's
normally
like
do
sometimes
$5 flat.
Yeah, I'm like 50% sometimes is like a quarter of the amount I'm already paying, and I'm just like, not a quarter, but like it bumps it up like a $10, and I'm just like, yeah, you see, like I'm not trying to pay like a third of my fucking meal as a. Because I mean, granted, I'm normally covering more than one person where you're going out to eat.
Yeah.
So
there's been a couple of times where I've tipped really well, but it was like really good service.
Well, none of you are
and made them extra work.
1 cent tipper, so
yeah.
That story. Well, I'll tell that story one day, but man, that was a whole experience.
Ordeal. I feel like at that point, just don't even tip. Like,
well, yeah. I mean, it's like intentionally rude. Like, if you're not gonna tip, just don't tip. But if you give 1 cent, that's insulting.
I've never actually seen this in real life, but I've seen like the Reddit photos. But the worst people have to be the people that leave like the fake $100 bills with like Bible quotes in them.
Wait, people do that? I've never heard of this before. Yeah. That's terrible.
So basically, it looks like $100 bill, but if you flip it over, it's just like a quote about like I don't know, some random Jesus bullshit, and I'm like,
what is the point? To like be like money shouldn't matter? Take this morality.
That's actually
who are you taking that out on? What? The restaurant's not hurting from that. It's the fucking server.
That is terrible.
That exists.
I would be very upset if that happened to me.
Yeah, exactly. At least if you're not getting tipped, you're like, I guess you could be annoyed, but like,
yeah. But if they do that,
you're getting shafted like that, I'd be fucking pissed.
I don't know if it's as bad as the 1 cent, but I think it's close.
I think
it's still
worse.
it's still someone like basically trying to send you a message instead of just not tipping. And it's like,
no. Like, 1 cent is bad, but like, because with the bill, it's like you have the momentary hope of $100. And then it's squashed with a fucking Bible note.
Well,
I think that's much
if it's
worse.
just a Bible note, then it's not as bad. But if you're fooling them with 100, that's definitely worse. Yeah, because then you're just being scummy. I can't believe that's a thing. I've never heard of that before. That's terrible.
I was like, there's no way this is real. But like, I saw the thread. I clicked on it. I was expecting like the comments to be like, like you've just made this up for karma. But instead, it was like 20 different people going, "I hate the motherfuckers that do this." So apparently, it's just common.
What in the world?
Yeah.
That's nuts. That's crazy.
I mean, it's been universally said by like every thread by every like person I know that this morning Sunday crowd, like after church crowd, is the worst.
Damn.
So, yeah, fuck you.
Those are some of like the worst people.
If you're just gonna like write it on a napkin or something, like that's still like, okay, why are you forcing your beliefs on other people? But like putting the fake, that's like, how much effort did they have to go to just to like screw people over like that? That's so.
I mean, you just buy them. I'd assume.
Yeah, I guess you could. Yeah,
the strategy they always gave is
than the vast majority of people will go to.
The strategy they always gave is take them and put them in the like collections thing, like in church. I wish, bro. The only time I went to church, I should have just been like, "Oh shit, free money," and just yoinked some off that.
Oh no.
What's gonna happen, bro? Is if that is what sends God over the edge if he's real on whether I go to heaven or hell, like I don't know, like it was fucked to begin with, like
fair enough.
Either he's not real and I've just made extra cash, or he is, and that is not the thing he should be judging me off of.
Oh. I've kind of always wanted to go to a confessions booth, like just as like for fun. I know that's kind of insulting, but like I kind of just like want to experience it. I don't think I would fuck with them that much, but I think it would be interesting to hear what they would have to say to some of the things that I would have to say. That's another podcast episode. We'll bring the mic in and just be like, today our guest is
we actually
father.
Wait, that's actually fantastic. That would be so good.
Today it is my turn to choose the topic, and that topic is sins and confession.
Okay, but who are we making the father? I vote Harry.
Oh, God.
You mean just like us confessing things to the host sort of thing? That would be a fun episode, actually.
I think that would be so good.
Wait, why me?
You are the most like a father.
I'll be the father then.
I know it's not quite the same definition of father, but
oh my God. No, but like, what are your reasoning to make me the religious father?
It wasn't the religious thing. I just figured you'd like being called daddy.
No. Depends.
Confirmed. It is.
Mixed feelings.
It's like anybody else, no, but when Greg says it, yes.
Exactly.
Oh, when Greg says it, hell yeah.
Daddy.
Ooh.
What is the quote from Harry Potter with like Dobby? It's like, Daddy gotta suck. Daddy go home. Wait, no, that's E.T. I'm mixing up all my
Dobby got a cock.
Okay. That's the NSFW.
No wonder they call him Throbby.
Okay.
Who calls him that? Who calls him that?
This is too specific. Harry's definitely written a Harry Potter fanfic before. A Dobby fanfic specifically.
Oh God, if it's like the one he made of us, Greg, I don't want to read it.
Dobby is free.
Post cock shock.
Dobby shall bless master with his fat cock.
Okay, stop.
Okay, that's all right. Let's
enough out of it.
Let's go.
All right. So for the topic.
Also, we can't actually use it because like my audio, like when I change my audio, it also changes the audio for that. I could just like edit it and then make it so it doesn't change it, but I'm mostly just using that for timing now. So
I'll use you for timing.
Harry,
so we're got some categories, not categories, but like subsections of this we'll go through. The main talking points. That's what it is. So the main one obviously
I literally sent you some of the talking points I had ideas for with the category talking points at the top of it. But...
Okay, well, I didn't really read the topic.
What do you mean?
Shut the fuck up.
I need to have I need to like whenever Harry like gets I need to send Harry a document and then just like have him read it with an eye tracker. Like I want to see what parts he actually goes over.
Bro, he did bold talking points. Oh wow.
Oh my
yeah, it's in bold. Yeah, I forgot. Also, I'm gonna make a one of those sound buttons. What's it called? A soundboard button. That's a Harry moment.
Oh fuck off! Why?
Why?
Yeah, I think it needs.
You know what? Fair.
Not
fair.
Not
Fuck
reading
you.
bolded text.
Okay, well, I read it, but I might have forgotten about that.
Forgetting things you read a minute ago. That's a Harry moment.
Okay. It wasn't a minute. It was like maybe 20-30 minutes ago. Still, so the talking points. Shut the fuck up. We'll go through them. I mean, the main one was obviously by ourselves, our mental, how we are mentally, and I guess how we act by ourselves. And then it's gonna go with family, with lovers, if you want to disclose that. And then we'll go into
lovers.
It's gonna. Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say me and Greg can't exactly contribute here.
Okay, we'll probably skip that one honestly. Because I don't really feel like solo sharing. That's
one?
a
Harry moment.
I hate this so much.
We need a counter, bro.
I'm not editing that. So, Greg, if you want to edit a counter, you can, but I'm not doing that work because I'm not listening through to count my own failures.
Ding, ding.
Shut the fuck up. So, then the final one's going to be kind of a mix of how we act based on different friend groups. Granted, now, I don't know about you guys, but like, I mean, I only mainly have like one main friend group, but. Well,
I can say stories.
Yeah.
Actually, and then I definitely can talk.
That actually kind of falls.
You've had different friend groups in the past.
Yeah,
though, right?
yeah. But I was like, this kind of meshes. The different friend groups kind of meshes with the masking, or like the code. The mainly code switching between like groups. Granted, this can also be like friends, family, and like people, strangers. And then the last final tidbit, if we get time, is masking. Or we'll probably discuss masking emotions. Based on I was thinking more of based on like groups, what you show, what you don't show, and maybe your like internal thoughts about some things and what you comfortability about sharing and blah 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 blah. But we'll get to that when it crosses. We'll get to that. We'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Yeah, there we go.
Shut the fuck up. Yeah, cunt.
All right. Okay, so we're starting with how we are when we're alone.
Yeah, so I don't know if you guys act different alone, but like when I am alone, I am like without not Discord, not talking to anyone, just me chilling in my room. My mentality is very like how to say like deadline. Like, and I've actually talked to Benay about this. Flatline.
Oh,
so there's like almost no thought sometimes, and like I've talked to Benay about this, and she discussed like especially in the beginning of we started dating. She discussed how this is possibly not a good thing, but it's like when I'm alone, I'm very numb and like I don't really think about anything like that. It's normally like very just mindless and carefree. Granted, it's like I don't have
think that's
like
that abnormal. I mean, because like for me, I don't consciously think of a lot of things. I do catch myself several times just like being fairly passive or just like staring at my computer. Like I don't go like full days off mode, but usually it's just I'm doing something and I'm focused on that thing. And then when I'm in between doing things, I just don't really think that much about stuff.
Wait. So like when you say you don't think that much, like you're not in your head having like a dialogue. Like you're actually just like
actually
flatline?
Most of the time won't ever. Like if I'm maybe in a good mood, I might. But a lot of times my brain is kind of autopilot, and I'll have like tasks I want to do, and when I do them, it's just basically like dead, flatline, and there's just nothing going on. I think the biggest thing that she was concerned about was like I don't really feel anything. Like when I'm alone, I don't feel emotions like that. I don't really feel happy. I don't really feel sad.
But like not like
the only time I could relate to that was when I was heavily depressed. And I'm not joking about that.
But you're talking about like you're not feeling anything like in response to things, right? Or not in response. Like you're not responding to things, so you don't feel things.
It's right? A little bit of both. Because even when I do like watch things or read things, it's like there's not really a feeling going into it. Maybe it's a really good anime or manga. Maybe I'll get into it. But like when I'm sometimes when I'm watching things, it's just sometimes just sitting there. Like now it's a little better. But back a little maybe a couple months, half a year ago, maybe more towards of. There wasn't much thought into anything I did alone. Like when I was alone, I could probably just stare at a screen or like stare at a wall, and it'd be the same as what I was doing. Maybe watching YouTube or something. Like
so
the way my brain was going, which I mean, granted,
irregular, but I feel like it's not that crazy. I mean, like I think a lot, or I can't really say that because I haven't talked to too many people about this, but at least me, like I relate to most of that. Like I don't think about that much when I'm just like doing day-to-day tasks, and like I don't really have a train of thought. Like my brain is just kind of autopiloting, and I just kind of do things. But it's like for me, where it differs is just when I'm responding to things. Like if I'm responding to something I'm watching, or if I'm like thinking about like, oh, I need to do this or prepare for this, or if I'm just like reading a book, it's like I usually get pretty invested in those things, and like I'll feel quite a bit in response to those things. But when I'm not doing something like that, then usually my brain is just kind of like, it just kind of moves forward. It doesn't really sit on anything and think about anything.
Holy shit, guys. I think I'm weird. I can't relate to a damn thing you guys are saying. I'm gonna be.
I mean, it could be
it's different for everyone.
Yeah,
but I don't think anyone here is necessarily like abnormal or like really off. I think it's just people have different ways in which their brains sort of function.
So when I'm alone, if I'm like really like just out of it, or if I'm like really sad, I will just escape into my own like world.
Mm-hmm.
But
full
even
of red heads,
otherwise,
big titties.
Actually, not really. But maybe I should. I should incorporate that more. You're right.
Yeah.
But anyway, I like even when I'm like, if I'm like mildly happy, mildly sad, mildly excited, like regardless of emotion, I'm constantly at a dialogue with myself. Like I am constantly talking to myself. I'll have entire like podcasts on topics only I care about within myself.
Coming next week, the Adash only podcast featuring Adash, Oddish, and Rat. And wait, what was the other one? Otter. There you go. Otters.
Remember how we said Adash was making this up all on his own?
They're just voices in my head. I'm in a white room right now.
Yeah, I'm Otters. Harry's Oddish.
Yeah, Harry would be Oddish.
Oh my god,
he would be.
Is that a bet? I don't really know how I feel about that.
I don't think there's any implication there.
Fair enough.
But no, yeah, I've never like, because like this used to be a pretty common joke on iFunny. Like one of the popular jokes on iFunny is the men have a nothing box, or like you can go fishing, and like you can lay down the bait, and then you can just think about nothing for hours. Right. Until you need to think. And I'm like, I don't know what this is like. I have never been able to do this.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to do that either.
So
I would need to listen to a podcast or something.
Yeah. Now I probably couldn't really do that for a long period. I could probably sit there and just not think about anything for maybe like 30, 40 minutes. Back
That's
like when
wild.
But yeah. But back when I like after the summer of what was that? 2018, whenever
19.
When we sort of transitioned into middle college and talked about events with
that'd be 2017.
Yeah, maybe in 2017, 2018. I think it's 2018. That summer, I think during that time was the most distinct time I could actually remember where if I wasn't with someone, I didn't feel anything. And like every once in a while now, I'll like if I hit myself when I'm working on something, or I feel like actually accidentally hurt myself, it's like a reminder that I do actually feel something, and I'm like okay, but it's like okay, well it's not supposed to be like that. But
I was gonna say that was a very I know that's not what you meant, but that was a very edgy line.
It's
like sometimes I hurt myself.
I don't purposely hurt myself, but
yeah, I know.
From what it seems, I do often, I guess out of carelessness, like when I smacked my face with the piece of glass, that was like, oh, I feel a little pain. I actually do feel something sometimes. Granted, it didn't really hurt that much, and the only thing I really felt was the blood, but that was more of whatever. At first, I was like, am I sweating or am I bleeding? I was like, oh no, I'm bleeding.
It's like. From what I can tell, I feel like what you're describing is a little unusual maybe, but I don't think it's that problematic necessarily. Yeah. Because I think the main thing is like you're still able to sort of invest yourself in your relationships and stuff. Because like at no point in me knowing you has it felt like you just like space out and just stop caring about things. Like you always just invest, I think, like a normal person when
that's because you weren't on during the nights when Harry was working Toyota. He was out of it.
I think those would probably be times where I think
it's more of like a mode you go into, like when there's just nothing that you have to invest yourself into. Maybe, I don't know. I'm not a fan.
I think it's also like personally. Banana doesn't like me saying this, and I mean I don't know if I will ever. I mean I kind of changed it, but it's like I don't care about myself that much. Like I don't really like. Granted, I thinking back. I always get flashbacks of my parents telling me this. They always do the things not for us, but for yourself. But they force you to do learn violin, do the work. And now I kind of do live for other people, not really truly for myself. And the only things I do for myself is the auto work and stuff like that. But it's like everything else, it's always been for someone else or to achieve a goal to, complete someone else or take care of someone else.
So when you end up by yourself, you end up just sort of
it's like I don't
AFK.
I don't really care to take care of myself.
Harry
it's not
is
like I really
an
want
actual
to do
NPC.
He only starts becoming active when other people are interacting. You are just describing an NPC.
You are though.
Oh fuck! Actually, God damn. This is why I need the project car.
I'm not
so
the main
I can
character. I'm the side character, the funny side character.
That's kind of fucked.
It's very fucked.
That's actually
I feel kind of bad because I feel like this has just hit him deep. I've never heard that "oh shit" before. Bro said that like a weight of 1,000 suns hit him at once.
Yeah, no, that's actually kind of. Now I'm thinking about it, like that. Damn, that's actually that might be a little fucked. I mean, yeah, that was the thing. It's like I don't care if I get hurt or like the things I do to myself, but it's like I only care about it because I know it would hinder other people, and that's why I haven't shot myself. It's like I know it would be a hindrance to other people, but I also have things I still have to take care of before I can do that, or before I can justify myself doing that.
I don't want to get too deep with this, but so does that mean when you're by yourself, do you have I don't want to call it long-term goals, because I think that's one of those things that very few people actually experience the way that people think you're supposed to experience it. But do you have things that sort of drive you forwards towards what you want to do and stuff when you're by yourself?
So before
that don't involve other people.
Oh.
His NPC.
So not I need to do this. So not I need to do this because
all right, let's break down my long-term goals. Okay.
Okay.
So get my salary job so my dad can retire.
Wait, that's just okay.
Yeah. I'm just going through the long-term goals. Yeah. I want to make I know your mom mentioned this. I was like, I want to make $1 million so I can treat her to lunch.
I don't think you have to make $1 million to do that.
No. Your mom said unless I have $1 million, I can't pay for dinner.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So your mom said that. And I was like, bet. Okay, I'm gonna make $1 million.
This is just how loaded Miss Pan is.
Because I was like, is there ever? Because I think when she took us out to Chima's, and I was like, is there ever a chance that I would be able to pay? And she was like, when you may have $1 million in your bank, and I was like, I guess.
Actually,
okay.
Now that I think about it, right? Greg, your mom works nonstop. She makes bank. Does she just have a fucking massive nest egg?
Kind of. But we also spend at a pretty fast rate as well. So.
The amount of cooking ingredients?
Work hard, drip hard, I see.
I think the amount we spend on groceries is 5 times what the average family spends on groceries.
Wait, how much per month would you say?
I don't know, because I'm not the one who buys them, but I'll say you know how we went to Costco, Harry, last time? And I was like, going under $100 is crazy. Last time I went to Costco with her, we easily passed 300, I think. At Costco.
That's not outrageous though. At Costco,
it is Costco.
But
it is Costco,
how often do you go to Costco? I think it's almost.
I don't know. I just know she goes grocery shopping a lot and she buys a lot every time.
I think it's at least
every time I go with my mom. Every time I go with my mom, it's usually bi-weekly, and even if she's shopping light, it's 160 minimum. So
the best description is we went to Canada over Christmas this past year, and when we got there, the guy who lives there moved out. His parents and him bought a different house to stay in, so it was basically just empty. And he brought all of his stuff with him, so the fridge was basically completely empty. Within 2 days, the entire fridge was full, everything. There was no room for anything. It was basically just completely full from bottom up. So that's how I describe how our family does groceries and stuff, because it's if our fridge isn't full, then we go shopping to make sure it's full.
No, but that's what I mean is I mean my family's similar. Our freezer, every time we go grocery shopping, my dad has to play Tetris with the fucking freezer.
Yeah.
Yep,
same. We
don't have that big of an issue since it's just Scarlett and I. So
yeah, I don't know. I know it's a common issue for some people. Me, when I lived on my own, I never had an issue with that because I would just buy what I'm gonna use.
You're just Also, I just don't think we make. Oh, actually, you make enough, but I physically just don't make enough money to justify getting enough, because even I try to get bulk items on things like onions and stuff, but I've cut down recently because I'm I physically can't go through them all before they rot.
Onions.
Yeah.
They just go through. So I'm I actually can't get enough.
To bring us back to topic, so what are your other long-term goals?
I was just gonna say, speaking about kitchen, I think the only other thing would be remodeling the house. I mean, I don't really know if that's for. I guess that might be for myself. Get enough once I get the salary job to remodel and fix up the house, and eventually down the line, build the dream house for Benea and I. And I guess I think the only actual thing that I wanted to buy is probably the project car. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's only really me, and that I don't really know who else would.
That's the level upgrade.
Yeah.
For 500 credits, you can unlock Cool Harrison.
Fuck off. Because it's I'm done with my PC now, basically. So it's the only thing I work towards now is probably the project car.
And you are trying to get better at ping pong and stuff, right?
Well, that's more just to pass the time. But yes,
ping pong. That's
ping pong was something just to pass the time and something I enjoyed. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't think it's too bad. I mean, you could probably find more things to enjoy and live for yourself, but I don't think it's panic mode, we need to send you to a therapist right now sort of situation.
Benea, I don't need therapy.
No, that's not what I said. I was just saying.
You heard it here, Benea. Greg said I don't need therapy, and he's basically a therapist.
I can say with
I literally said I'm not a therapist.
I can say with full confidence that me, Greg, and Benea all think you need a therapist.
Oh,
yeah, I still think we need to one day. One of the later seasons, we do need to actually have an episode that's us talking to a therapist. We need to find the therapist who's okay. Who's okay with us recording it, and then we need to record it
and dealing with our bullshit.
My cousin does have a bachelor's in psych, so I could just get her on.
Bro, that would be a very, very long episode, I feel like. Because if it's all three of us, I don't think we could do that in an hour or so.
No.
So we would actually maybe split that up into parts.
It could be a series. It could be a series.
Yeah.
It's just inside
Season 2
Harrison's
finale.
Mind.
Yeah.
And then episode 2 is Can Greg not joke for 2 minutes?
Episode 3 is a dash still, what's it called? Sad, lonely, and down for to mingle.
Yep.
Oh, no, wait. Single and down to mingle or some shit like that.
Yeah, I think it was a sad Indian boy who's single and ready to mingle.
Yeah. I knew it was coming, but when he said it again, it was so good.
Yeah, it was so good. The delivery killed it.
Yeah.
No, I think for me, it's definitely. I would say I'm not that sort of person. I don't think I'm. I'd consider myself pretty selfish. Most of my goals in what drives me forward is mostly centered around what I want. So I don't quite relate to that. But that said, even when I am by myself, I do think I think it's less of a personality thing and more of just how my experiences have shaped me. But I think I'm just a much more calm person now. So I just don't have that many thoughts anymore. Because back then I think I was a lot more prone to emotional spikes. And anytime one of those happened, I would just kind of go into my own world and have a lot of dialogue with myself. But I think nowadays it's it's very rare for me to have emotional spikes. And when I do, it's usually with family members and I talk to them about it. But when I'm by myself, it's just I don't have anything to spike over anymore. So I just don't have that happen. And because that's not happening, then the dialogue doesn't really happen. I just kind of am calm. But it's I am very affected by media and entertainment. And that's why I'm so obsessed over it, is because it actually, I get invested into it so much. So it's that's my avenue towards having that dialogue, is I just read a story or watch a movie, and it's I get really emotional and invested with it, and then those things make it so that I am able to start having more of that dialogue with myself a little bit more, but it's under a much more controlled circumstance than before.
I don't want to make this a podcast about going inside Harry's mind, but you say what he's doing is fine. But I disagree because like the only time I can remember where like I just couldn't like feel anything when I was alone was not a good time in my life.
Yeah.
Like if I had to look back, like, because the only reason I couldn't like think anything when I was alone is because like just thinking was like so crushing. Like emotions were an effort that I just wanted to avoid as much as possible.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, I didn't say he doesn't need help. I just think it's maybe not to the extent that
Greg says I don't need help.
But
He did.
I never said that.
He said the opposite.
I've reiterated several times that I think you do actually. But no, I just think I'm not 100% convinced that it is emotional suppression. Just from what I know of Harry, but I'm not saying that I'm 100% convinced it's not either. I just think
fair.
I am not like, because I definitely also had periods of my life where I like felt a lot of things, and then like it resulted in me trying to do my best to stop feeling things because it was painful. So I don't know. I just feel like, at least in my experiences, it was like a very different thing than Harry's describing. In at least the way he described it, as like the times where he doesn't feel things, and also even the way that you don't feel things is just like different than the way that I used to sort of deal with it. But also like everyone's different, so it is possible you just have a bundle of trauma that you're tying your emotions with that needs to be unwrapped.
Yeah.
I don't even know how that would be unwrapped though, because I'm like Banana would say, well, we're now sparring a little off topic, but it's like she says I still have trauma or some issues and stuff. I'm like, I don't think that affects me anymore. I don't think it does.
You're just wrong.
Apparently.
I don't know if that sort of thing ever fully goes away. But I do
without
think,
actually confronting it, at least.
But like, even when you confront it, I think it's always like.
But I was like, I don't know how to confront it. Like.
yeah. That's kind of what I mean.
Well, that is the point of a therapist.
Yeah.
I'll figure it out.
So Adash, how about you?
I mean, yeah, like I mean, I said like I have constant, like I genuinely, besides the times in my life where like everything was pain and I simply did not want to exist, I constantly have a dialogue going. I'll have podcasts with myself
and just chilling.
Yeah,
you're just like
there's never a time where I'm not if I'm not like consistently like having a dialogue, it's at least a monologue. Like I'm just listening to the voice in my head say stupid shit.
Look at that.
I'd say I'm probably somewhere between Harry and Adash on this scale, because I definitely do have dialogue.
Once again, Greg is the middleman.
But I also sometimes just am just AFK.
Yeah, I'm just I mean I think I am just hyperactive. Like I can't, like, that. This is why I have zero patience, is like my brain gets so bored without stimulation. Mm-hmm. I've actually gotten better at it because of work. Like I've been forced to get better at it. So yeah, I do just be having podcasts with myself. The most I've managed is 5 separate people. But
really?
5 separate entities.
That's insane.
Yeah.
God damn. Okay, maybe Dash is like Dash is low-key a schizo?
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe it's
I was like, wait, even when I have a dialogue with myself, it's usually just me talking. It's
just me and myself. There is no I.
I wouldn't even call it 2 people. It's me just like sort of like just thinking about things.
Yeah, but here's the thing though, like as soon as I don't need the other like personalities anymore, they disappear forever.
Yeah,
I kill them.
Low-key schizo.
I birth them and I kill them at a moment's notice. I am the god of my own brain.
Okay. All right. So he's a psycho schizo.
Oh my gosh. I wish there was some way that like like you know how in all those like stories where like you can go inside someone's head or like inside their like thoughts.
I wonder
and
what's
stuff.
going
It's
inside
like,
their head.
Yeah, I really want to know what the internal world of you and Adash both. I like Adash is like World War III down there. It's like, I don't know, or they're just having meetings all the time like you and and then they all kill themselves at the end. They all have a talk and then take cyanide pills. And
I was joking. I guess it's just they don't show up to the meeting room. You know, I just dismiss them from the room.
You don't visualize killing the personalities that you just talked with. That would be concerning.
That would be. Maybe I should start. No, I shouldn't.
And then Harry's is just like mostly just the ocean. It's just the open ocean. I don't know. I think
it's just a GTA loading screen.
That's so rude.
Why? Oh my god. Just loading assets.
Right, do you want to bring us to another talking point, Harry?
Alright, so now it's like maybe we can go into our the with family.
Wait. Actually, before we move on, we were talking about like our thought processing by ourselves. What about do you guys just act different? Like, do you guys ever do anything by yourselves that you don't do with like friends or family or just anyone?
Dick.
Besides that, obviously, I think that's every guy in the world relates to that. But
things I do by myself.
I don't know what you're talking about. Greg's family, I am a good man. Good Christian boy.
I was also gonna say. Plus, I said things you do by yourself. I've been there while you've beat your dick. So.
Okay, hold on.
This is
you
a
have no
really
proof.
interesting question because I don't know.
Yeah, I guess there are things that you're just gonna like do without thinking about, but for me, it's just humming and singing. I hum when people are around, but I just like straight up sing and stuff when I'm by myself. Usually when I'm doing something, I don't just sing while I'm.
I think I would.
I'm a lot more Italian when I'm alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I really.
And then recently, I've been doing a lot of like shitty voice acting. Like I'll just be like sitting there, and I'll just be like, I'll just start like making voices, and then just like trying to keep it consistent.
Okay,
that's what you sound like. Yeah,
but like no, but just because like voice acting has always been something that I've been interested in, but it's like it's so difficult, man. Like that skill is crazy. Yeah. But yeah,
I kind of want to just like peek it on Greg, just voice acting. So
no, but the thing is, like, it's not even something that would embarrass me. I don't think, because I do dumb voices in front of you guys.
Yeah, but I do want to.
You would just walk in and just be like, "What the fuck?" I'd just be like, "Yeah."
I would just be like, "Yeah, that's a Greg moment."
That's a Greg moment. Yeah. We'll make voice lines for all three of them. That's a Greg moment.
Yeah, when I'm alone, I'm just a lot more Italian. Like, I just...
Wait, what?
Italian?
I said this before. You guys just didn't react. So I was like, I guess you guys understand exactly what I mean. Like,
I don't at all.
I'm very animated with gestures and stuff.
Wait, when you're by yourself?
Yeah.
You're animated with other people. You're very... the way you laugh is you throw your whole body back when you laugh.
Okay, yeah.
This is true.
Well, I mean, like, with my hands and stuff. Like, I move my hands out a lot more.
If you're more animated by yourself, then you're already very animated.
Yeah.
Now I'm curious. To see how that goes. How that's like, because...
I've hurt myself so many times on random pieces of furniture I was
gonna say like yeah. Wait, that's kind of weird, but I was gonna say like, but besides those few moments where I like sing or do dumb voice acting, usually I'm pretty normal. Like sometimes I'll just do something random that's stupid, but most of the time I'm relatively normal. Harry, I know you used to say that you like used to jump up and touch your ceiling and stuff.
Yeah, that was like I don't do that anymore. But that was like to spread it. Like I would just like jump around and fucking be a spaz.
But so I was gonna say I think it's funny.
Touch it without jumping.
No, fuck off.
Sorry.
I was gonna say I think it's when you brought up the topic, you mentioned Nozoki Anna, and I was thinking about this, and I was like, like I'm sure that guy was doing interesting things sometimes, like fucking, and then like just like acting weird. But also, I'm sure because like I was gonna say for me, it's like besides those times where I am being weird, like 99% of the time I'm just like sitting there, like I'm just serious, like I just don't do anything. I'm just like because obviously I think most people are like that. So I was thinking like most of the time she's looking through that hole, he must just be sitting there. Like just watching TV, or just like I wonder how often she just looks through the hole and then just gets bored because he's just doing
I do wonder. Granted, I mean it was like I think there was a part where she was talking like when she first started peeking on him when he didn't know about it, and she was like because she could see like the the honest him or whatever. The regular him, and it was more of the times he beat his dick, when I was watching TV.
No, that's what I was wondering. So is she just like coincidentally like peeping in right as he's doing something interesting? Or is she just looking all the time? And
I feel like if there's a little actual crack in the room like that, you could probably always hear, roughly what's
I guess
going
you
on
could probably
there.
tell when they're doing something.
Especially the way the dude was animated. But homie was like flying around.
That's true. That is
so
true.
it's like that is one thing, like, the anime, like they whenever they react to shit.
Oh yeah.
All right,
yeah.
It's
getting
fucking a
back on
dash in real
topic.
life.
Getting back to the topic.
yeah.
Family.
Yeah. I guess it's your mentality with family and stuff. I guess I'll probably just go ahead and each one probably go in. Now it's a lot more chill because my dad's like chilled out a whole bunch. But before, like between like I would say like 16 through maybe 18 almost, it was more like always just serious because I don't want to say the wrong thing or else he's going to start talking to me about how I should finish school and blah blah blah, or making sure I do this and that. I try to avoid having him reiterate the things I already know over and over again.
Mhm.
And then now it's a lot more
things
calm.
I've heard a million times.
Yeah, like finish your schooling. Your schooling is most important. Blah blah blah, stuff like that, and like shit like that. And I'm like, all right, thanks. It's like I've been doing this for like fucking half my life. But it's not here nor there. Granted, now it's like family is just little sister and older and dad, and I don't see my dad more than like fucking once a month maybe. So it's like even those are just very chill. I just kind of report in about certain things, hand him the mail, and maybe we'll joke for here and there. But most of the time, since we don't have a lot of time to talk anymore, or at all, really, it's very brief. More lighthearted than it used to be, but more kind of like formal in a way. Now it's become a little more casual in terms of it, but I don't really swear or do like, it was kind of like how I would be talking with Greg's parents or like anyone else's parents.
Right.
And then with Scarlett, it's fucking, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I mean, she knows the shit I say and the shit I'll do. So for
She-
her, it's more.
we always joked like back when I first started like becoming friends with a Dash. We always, because Harry would always just scream shit. Like that's one thing that he doesn't do anymore that he used to do a lot. Is like
Just
back then
fucking
during those times.
yell.
Yeah, so many of those like days would just be Harry like screaming at the max capacity, and we were always just like,
I've
yeah,
watched so much hentai.
Yeah, Scarlett must just be hearing so many weird things.
Granted,
coming
she
from
picked
you.
up on it as well, which I'm like, fair enough, honestly. Like,
Yeah.
fair enough, because I did it, and it's her turn to do it.
Wait,
but
does
it's
she
like-
scream that she watches hentai? So
No, she won't do that. But sometimes when she's like playing games and stuff, I hear her go, no, and, like start freaking out and shit like that. But it's like now, like with Scarlett, it's more I just as an older brother, I harass her here and there just for fun.
Does she use racist terms as liberally as you do?
No. She's not.
She's letting you down.
She's not as openly racist, but she is like white people.
Wait, Harry just admitted he was openly racist.
Okay,
And it's on
We
recording.
have it on
Oh
tape.
my
Shit,
God.
we have it finally.
No, you don't actually, because I can always mute that out.
That's true.
I have full power in this, but I probably won't. No, but it's like I'm not racist, but I say a lot of racist shit. Oh,
That's
okay. No, okay. Wait, I'm not. I don't. Okay, fuck off. I don't mean the racist shit I
that's
say.
a Harry
It's just for jokes.
That's such a Harry Potter.
I mean, you guys understand what I'm saying. You guys understand, right?
I'm just gonna keep letting you dig that hole.
No,
Yeah,
God damn it.
I'm going to disengage with this part of the conversation. And just,
I make
watch
it a
this train
lot of
crash.
stereotyping jokes. Let's.
All right,
Is that better?
that's enough of a hole. Let's just keep
Okay.
Yeah,
moving
Dash,
along.
what about you and your
I'm muting
family?
this whole segment. Fuck it.
So-
I'm muting it.
I know. It's so good.
You're gonna come
So-
back and it's just cut to that. I don't give a fuck.
So Harry basically covered how I act around my father specifically.
Mhm.
It's actually exactly the same. It used to be like going home was walking into a ticking time bomb. Like, and the difference I think is like I don't know about like Harry's case, but like in my case, I never knew what I was walking into. Sometimes my dad's in a good mood, sometimes he's not. Like it was so bipolar that like walking home, it would always be a case of anxiety because like sometimes he'd just be in a mood where he just wants to nag, That's annoying.
Yeah.
Sometimes a decent, probably like 60% of the time, he was just normal or left me alone. But like when 40% of the time is shit, it definitely feels worse.
Yeah.
So there'd be like another large percentage of the time where you just like do something annoying or like make me do something so that like what little time I have that's not filled with school is just wasted. Or there's like 10% of the time where he's just angry for no reason, and like I can just tell something's going to happen. Like he's just gonna like hit me or yell or whatever. So it was always just tense because I never, like, every word I said around him was measured after a certain point. And so yeah, it was just like me avoiding conflict as much as possible. But then like I think it just sort of like bled in that plus like schoolwork like all getting to me is like with family, like after high school I was like pretty, like I wasn't cold to my mom, but like, you know, when I was younger, like when we were alone, like I'd have like conversations with my mom that were like really like just fun, like, you know, we hang out like a normal family, like what Greg has, but yeah, like we used to do that, but then like for a few years like I just didn't, just as a combination of like everything getting to me. But then like afterward, like I actually like told her, like I opened up to her about you know, everything. And like we talked about it, and like yeah, after that like our relationship improved, which I'm really happy for.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, and then my sister, it's like it was kind of the same thing. Like I was a lot more guarded around her. I still actually really struggle. Like when she talks to me, like she tries to get me to joke and stuff, but like I'm really serious like around her, and like I don't actually want to be, but it's hard. Like I don't know why I can't loosen up around her. Luckily I'm not that way around my brother. Like sometimes I am a little cold, but like, you know, when I'm in a good mood, like I do joke around with my brother quite often.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, my family dynamic is kind of complicated.
Yeah, it's always good to have a good relationship with your mothers.
Yeah, that is very true.
Yeah.
I think you know, I think everyone knows sort of where my answer goes here, but like one of the big good things I think in my family dynamic is just how close all of us are when it comes to this sort of thing. And then I don't know if we're gonna get into it, but like my friend groups when I was younger, all pretty much up until I met Harry, were pretty much exclusively females. Like I don't know if I had, besides like that one random moment in 3rd grade. I think every other year, like all my friends were girls, like with no exceptions. And I think
Greg was just pulling.
What no, what I led to is apparently it's more common for females to sort of hide negative emotions than it is for guys too. And I think I actually picked up a lot of that from all the people I hung out with, because like growing up, I and even to this day, like I'm not someone who displays negative emotions to people I know, like practically ever. Like it's not really something I can do, and it's just like completely built out of my system. But it's like obviously that negative emotion has to go somewhere, and it's like back then that just used to go to my family all the time. So it's like that's what caused a lot of those conflicts around the Star Guides period. It's just because like they were the only ones I could release that negative.
They became an outlet.
Pretty much, yeah. So it made our relationship like really strained in a lot of those ways. But it's like the converse side of that is that like that also meant that I could be like completely myself around them all the time, my family, my mom and dad and my sister. And it's because of that, like even though we got into some like crazy arguments a lot of the time, it's like we also like got along really well. So like we would go on vacations like all the time and just hang out with each other. And it's like it never felt like nobody could say anything to anyone. It's like all of us could just say whatever we wanted pretty much all the time. And there were of course things like, you know, and I don't even think this is really masking, but I think like, obviously I'm not going to make jokes the same way I make jokes to you guys, to them. And it's not even just because, like, I'm hiding that part of my personality. It's more just that I don't think they would think it's funny. So it's like, I'm not going to make a joke that they're not going to think.
To be fair,
I'm
pretty, apparently to your mom,
it's about to be like, to be fair, you're not.
yeah. No. Right. So it's like, so that's mostly why I like censored that sort of thing, but it wasn't anything like I was hiding it from them. So, but even that has evolved. Like, I definitely used to act a little bit more like proper, I guess, back then, like not cussing and not like making crazy jokes. But it's like nowadays I don't care. But I think
Greg's
that's
like,
also
fuck all that jazz.
But I don't think that's like a difference in our relationship. I think that's just me changing, because back then I just didn't cuss. Like, that wasn't me like hiding it. I actually just didn't used to cuss until I went to military academy. And then that's where I started.
Greg started dropping F-bombs. I was like, okay. This is how he is. Nice.
I literally never cussed until Oak Ridge, and then I started cussing because everyone cussed there. Like,
I don't think I ever cussed around you, Greg, until you started cussing. And I was like, word.
And then you started
fuck
cussing
this
once I started cussing.
I was like, fuck this shit.
Yeah.
And I think it was when we first started cussing in front of some other friends. It was like, oh.
Yeah.
That's when I was like, oh, so we're doing this now. Yeah.
I didn't cuss at all till middle school, and then I cussed more than I ever have. And then since middle school, it's just the bar graph or the line graph. It just goes down consistently. I cursed less in high school than I did in middle school. I cursed less in college than I did in high school. I curse less now than I do in college.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't cuss much at all nowadays.
I think it's like, when kids are younger, it's like they cuss because it's cool and everyone else is doing it. It's like, as you get older, you find that cussing is great for certain situations, but if you overuse it, it's just not. It just lessens the effect of the words. So
I think I cussed the most when I worked at Toyota. I don't know, like literally every other word that came out of my mouth was like fucking. Fucking. I would always be like, fucking piece of shit, fucking bullshit, fucking. Like, maybe it's just because of the work environment, but
yeah, it sounds like it would be. But yeah, in general, just like with my family, it's just that's been like my one oasis of like not having to like hide anything. It's just I can just be whoever I want to be and they'll accept it. And that's probably like the best part of our entire family dynamic. It's just that we're all so accepting of each other.
Okay. I think everyone shares. Yeah. Dash went over. I guess we'll probably skip over lovers. Unless we want to talk about each other. I mean, I'm just kidding.
I mean, that can be covered in the friends group thing, right? Didn't you say that was going to be a chapter?
I guess, yeah. I mean, are we friends or are we lovers, Greg?
Why can't we be lovers?
Yeah, I was gonna say, aren't most lovers also friends? Are you saying you're not friends with Banana?
No. I think Banana
no, you're not friends with Banana?
Okay, no, fuck off. Okay.
He's a racist and he's not friends with his lover.
Okay. Enough of it. Enough of that. Banana and I are best friends. It's hard to break that. It would be hard to break that. And I guess the last one was different friend groups, and I guess this I don't know if we want to incorporate or I guess we could incorporate what's it called, code switching with friend groups, and then also then I guess if we want to throw it all together.
So what do you think code switching is?
So code switching for me is like I
because I just researched
briefly
this before we did this.
So
topic,
it's like switching like how I talk and the way I address things, and like kind of like a different persona when talking to different groups. Like when I'm talking with friends versus strangers, very different like personality, how I greet, what I say, how I react.
What you're referring to is actually what masking is. Code switching is a linguistic specific thing. So code switching refers to
it's the cadence, dialect you use.
It's pretty specifically towards people who have two different like dialects.
So code switching is basically just verbal versus
Chinglish.
Masking is
you know what Chinglish is, right?
Yeah.
That's what code switching is. It's like they'll switch languages to express something differently, basically.
Okay, but I did this in high school too. Like the way I spoke to like my regular, like my solid group of friends, not the way I spoke to like the more ghetto people. Like I literally
wait, would that be code switching or would that be masking?
That would be code switching.
Okay,
because I literally changed dialect.
So it doesn't. Yeah, it can also be dialects. So it can be English to English. I mean, one of the most famous examples of code switching is black people switching dialect to like white people, like when they're around white people.
Yeah.
Like sort of.
Code switching can be covered under masking, technically.
Yes, it's part of masking.
Okay, so like I guess we'll just talk about masking, in general with like different friend groups. And
like how you act differently. Yeah. This used to be a really big thing for me, and it's like I wanted to ask you guys a question about this later, but it's like for me, I used to have such different masks for the different people that I hung out with that like I felt like a different person a lot of the time. And I somewhat struggled with identifying which one of those people was really me.
Was me,
and having that self-identity because of how hugely I switched. And a big part of this, and I think this is why we got along so well, Harry, is because like I also had that really strong instinct of like people pleasing, especially when I hung out with people. It was like I changed my personality to make things work. In like I was the glue guy. Like whenever I was in a friend group, I was the guy who tried to like change my personality so that everybody would get along with each other. So it's So I often like warped sort of the way I interacted with people due to that, and I think I struggled for a while to figure out like who am I, like what is my actual personality. And I think back then I thought of my real personality as the one I just showed around my family and just by myself. But I think when I grew up, I started to understand that like because back then I used to think like, oh, I'm faking who I am for all these people, and it's like it was a really dark mindset of just like, oh, I'm changing myself so everyone else is happy. But it's
this
like,
kind of sounds like a Disney movie.
yeah. But it's like when I grew up, I started to realize like that's like I am making the conscious effort to do that, but that thing is like instinctive. Like that's part of my personality is to like warp my personality. So it's like I start to realize
you just metagamed yourself.
Yeah, basically. So it's like I realized like I wasn't like because like when I thought about it, it was like, oh yeah, I'm changing my but it never felt fake to me. Like I never felt like I was acting in front of my friends. Like I was changing my personality, but it always still felt like me.
But it was still genuinely
right. And that's when I grew up and I started to realize like it's all part of my personality. It's different like aspects of my personality that I'm sort of bringing to the front to sort of fit the situation. But it's like so I think I eventually learned that. But definitely back then I used to think like, oh, I'm just morphing myself and completely turning into a different person for every different friend group. So there was like specifically there was like the people I hung out with at school. I was like a lot more I was somewhat chaotic, but it was a lot more controlled chaotic.
And
then I think Harry was my guy that I was like, oh yeah, we're like the rough and tumble, like we don't care, we do things. And this was even before we were kissing. But
we don't care.
But it was just like Harry was such a different friend like for me because like I said, like all my friends before that were females and they were all like the nerd clique. Like we were all like the dudes who just like obsessed over really like nerdy and geeky hobbies and stuff. So meeting Harry was very different because, as we all know, Harry's a very like hands-on, physical sort of guy. So that was a very different friendship for me.
Harry's a jock.
Harry's an NPC.
Okay.
I'm kidding.
No, you're not.
I am actually. But like Harry was like my friend that I was like, oh yeah, he's rough. Like he's like a man. So that's it's like I would like switch to be more like rough and tumble when I was with you, but like when I was with like more wild, basically more chaotic, and then like with my friends at school and stuff, I'd be a lot more calm.
This is very interesting. Not necessarily calm, but just like
filtered. Like I would not let like a lot of the craziness that I let out around.
I mean that's fair because we let ourselves become unhinged for ourselves.
Yeah, basically because. Even now, it's like we very quickly unhinge ourselves whenever we're around each other.
I mean, we still just do. I mean, no. It's basically like when we're around, it's like, oh, so we can bullshit.
Well, like we went to Chima's.
In about a week, we
probably annoyed the whole restaurant when we were there because we were so unhinged. Like we just did not care.
But we had
just, like being
blast.
So loud.
And this the thing is like we were loud, but we were having a blast with ourselves, and we weren't like disturbing. I mean, maybe noise wise, we could. I mean, you couldn't really hear yourself half the time in that fucking restaurant anyways. But it's like we weren't really like throwing shit around. We were mannered, but we were having a good ass time, and I'm assuming the wait staff probably noticed that. Because we were.
I don't think they care.
When you guys asked for the cheese, man. Wait, was it the pineapple?
No, it was Cheese Man. It was Cheese Man because Banana really wanted the cheese. Yeah, so we were like, "Where's Cheese Man?" And when he came, we were like, "Cheese Man," and he was like, "I'll go get him."
Actually said it,
and we were joking about how like he probably had left already because it had been like 30 minutes, and and they were gonna like call him and be like, "You got to get back, man." They're specifically requesting, and he's like, "Why don't you just have someone else bring out the cheese?" And they're like, "No, they're requesting you,
it has to
not
be
the cheese." But yeah, so it's just like
that was such a fun day.
There was like those two friend groups, and then like I also consider my family a friend group, so I would be a little bit more wild around them, but back then I also didn't like cuss and stuff, and I would still control myself to a certain extent, so like around family. But yeah, so there was just and I had like, even at school, like I didn't just have one friend group, I had like 2.5-ish, because there was like my nerd friends, and then there was my other group of nerd friends that didn't like the other group of nerd friends. So those two. I don't know if I've ever gone into depth about that, but there was like the Asian nerd friends, and then the Indian and black nerd friends.
Wow,
so those were like those two friend groups that I
weird.
sort of bounced between and acted different between, and then there was like all the more popular kids and like the generically attractive ones that I wasn't necessarily friends with, but I still just like talked a decent amount to them and got along with
them. I got to know everybody.
Yeah.
Literally,
like I was
it's one of the perks of being so fucking smart that everybody just wants to get to know you in case they need help.
Like, this was probably a thing for all of us, where there's people who come up to you that know your name, but you don't know who the fuck they are.
Yeah, exactly.
I was in the same sort of like group of kids for all of elementary school and middle school, so I pretty much knew everybody. Like even if they came up to me out of nowhere, I'd be like, "Oh yeah, I know."
So I think there's many times.
That was probably my most like proper countenance, like, because obviously I wouldn't be like chaotic and stuff in front of them, but I did some crazy shit sometimes. Like most of the time I was normal, but there were some times in middle school and elementary school where I got a little unhinged, but just little peaks of what I would eventually evolve into. I'll never forget in third grade, this is just a quick story I think is funny, but I'll never forget in third grade there was this one time where there was this kid next to me sitting down, and I had nothing against this kid. He was just like a dude that it was in my class that I was okay with. But for some reason, some part of me was like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna prank this kid." So what I did is like, as he was sitting down, I did the classic pull the chair out, and he like took a hard fall because he was like confident his chair was gonna be there. So
Greg Mount killed a man.
Yeah, so our teacher was pretty upset, and yeah, I did not reveal it was me. I was totally honest. I acted completely oblivious.
Got away with
and nobody suspected me because I was like the nerd, like
Greg helped him up. I was like, "You okay, man?"
I was like, "That's such a terrible thing that happened to you. Who could have done this?
Who did this? They need to be brought to justice."
You actually just like fucked with a guy, and to this day.
Oh yeah, nobody knows that it was me. I was the only person who knows about that.
We're just gonna have the police come up to his door. Did you take the chair out this young man?
That guy suffered long-term tailbone damage. No, but
he's bringing a lawsuit to you.
Because that was like the one, like we're talking about friend groups, but like the one role, like a sort of mask, I guess you could say. I personally don't really think it's fully, like mask is fully accurate, especially for myself. But anyway, I think like teachers were the one, I said before that it was like the normal students. It's actually teachers. Like teachers, I was like the goody two shoes. Like they never caught me doing anything. But it's like the second they turned their back, I did unhinge myself quite a bit. Like I'd be starting literal class wars with like origami weapons, and the teachers would be mad, but they wouldn't realize I was the one supplying everyone with those weapons.
That's crazy.
And then like science class in 7th grade. Yeah, science class in 7th grade, like I was the guy with the spitball weapon in science class shooting people. And the science teacher would know that it was happening and get mad, but she wouldn't know it was me. So it was like I would just be getting away with shit because like in front of teachers I was always like super teacher's pet sort of person. So
yeah.
Kiss
Typical
ass.
Greg. honestly, that doesn't sound like a what's it called? It's like an MC story, controlling everything in the background.
Push the glasses up. The shing.
I mean, like, there's a typical like the mask. Like for strangers, obviously, I'm not going around cussing like crazy. And there's like, especially like at work, it's like professional. I'm not out here using slang as much, and sentences are actual coherent and normally not stuttered like a fuck. Like that. They normally are actually like coherent sentences most of the time.
Yeah.
I think the one time that really it's a mask that I had that actually became kind of integrated into my personality. Once again, I don't know if I've told the story yet on a podcast. The whole thing that happened during the summer of that time. I keep bringing up the summer of 2018 or whatever.
The most eventful summer of Harry's life.
Yeah, well, it was. I think it was. Yeah, I talked about the turning point in my life. A turning point in my life. Because with that friend group, at first it was like fun, always joking, but it became to a point where it was always be ready to kind of either insult or like tease back. Because insulted, I knew I was, it was almost like a mental preparation. I knew I was going to get insulted or like, teased about something. So I either had to be ready to clap back or like, either rebuttal or some shit or have some sort of response in a way that could, maybe shield me. And that carried over into, maybe everything else, me being a kind of a ass. Probably it brought out the inner asshole. And now I'm pretty. We're all kind of assholes, but like I wouldn't be such a. I don't think I would be such a large asshole, or as much of an asshole as I was, if that never happened. But now it's like
confirm Harry's asshole is not as big as it used to be.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. And
it's because you moved
away. And that's the end of the podcast, guys. You
can. Over the last 6 months, it's been rough. And by rough, I mean it's been not rough at all, and that's not a good thing.
And by not rough, it's tight. Like it's real tight.
Yeah. It's been healing.
So like now the masks are honestly, I've kind of stopped doing the whole like if you're not important to me, really, I don't really change my lingo in a way. Like to parents. It's proper, to parents, coworkers, it's proper. But like to everyday people and to like, strangers, I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna talk like with the slang and like the gibberish I say. I mean, I'll probably not use certain words because people are gonna look at me like, "What the fuck did you just say?" Like, the fuck is gabagoo? Like, what the fuck is that?
That's the example. Like
Gabagoo.
But it's like like actually in like high school, I stopped. Like,
are you telling me you don't say toodles when you leave work?
No, I don't.
Bro, immersion ruined.
I actually don't say anything when I leave work. I just slip out and just leave.
Because he's an NPC.
Oh my god. Oh, fuck you. Oh my god. I hate that became a revelation. I'm trashing this whole podcast. Fuck this. Oh my god. No, this cannot be revealed.
It doesn't matter though. You know now.
Yeah, fuck. It's gonna see, the thing is I probably won't really remember it. It's gonna sit in the back of my head, and then something's gonna happen, and it's gonna all come front, like the fucking keys. Yeah. I will think about it, and then Greg's gonna be like NPC. He's gonna just be looking at me and say NPC, and I'm just gonna get like fucking flashbanged. It's like what's it called? The like a sleeper agent type shit. Yeah, but like now the mask isn't really as prevalent, and Bananas actually mentioned this. It's like you gotta sometimes code switch or something, and I'm just like, fuck them. Mainly with strangers, it's like I don't care. Like if you're a stranger, I'm gonna talk the way I talk because if we do become closer than strangers, this is how I talk. So
yeah, I remember when we first met Nassim, and you were just buck wild from the jump. I was like, wow, we're just gonna. We're just gonna send him off the deep end, but he swims. So
your memory is better than mine. I'm actually curious how like similar to my more unhinged personality did I reveal to you when I first met you, Adash? Because I know I met you over Discord and we were gaming.
It was, I'd say, a month in. I was like, "Oh, this man is unhinged." But like when we first met, you eased. It's not you eased me. Like I think I revealed pretty quickly that like I was like I don't know. I think we just clicked. Like, I think you got pretty quick that, like, what my sense of humor was, and, like, I think I got it pretty quickly that your sense of humor was, like, my sense of humor, but better. And so I'd say, like, the first month I was like, oh, this guy's pretty funny. But then, like, after that I was like, this guy's pretty funny, but also unhinged as fuck.
Yeah, I remember opening up to you pretty quickly compared to like how most people, because most people even then is like I still like would act one way and then like only start warming up to them after I was like really confident that they'd be okay with it.
Because like if I remember like our conversation, like it's over, it's whatever, it's rice, like that day was like 3 months in, if I remember. Like it wasn't that long.
That's when we really opened up. Yeah.
Well, actually, we didn't, because I just complained about my sister for a bit, and then like you guys like said all your like most deep trauma. I was like, yeah, you know, in hindsight, it's not that bad.
I remember Greg like started talking about his life, and I was like, oh, I guess we're doing origin stories. Bet.
I was like, I learned a lot, but I was like, guys, wow, this is. way to make my problems feel small.
And that's just like, I thought I had it rough.
Yeah, what about you, Adash? Because I don't even know much about your friend groups before Harry.
Yeah, so I'd say I had about...
I'm just kidding.
I'd say about like 4 different ways I acted, but they weren't completely different personalities. I think it's just, depending on the people I was with, brought out more of a certain part of me. Yeah. So, like, when I was with, like, the backseaters, you know?
Backseaters.
Yeah. Well, the back of the bus
back
bunch.
of the bus riders.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah, the back of the bus, man.
Yeah, like, I was a lot more wild.
There's a dual meaning to that.
You know, I think I, you know, you brought some memories. I don't think I ever became a back of the bus guy. It was kind of sad.
I did.
Really?
I was always like a front or middle of the bus guy. Yeah.
I
was never one of the
honestly,
crazy kids.
I'd say middle was the move. Like, I've been front, middle, and back, and I'd say middle.
The problem is, like, it was always, like, grade tiered for our schools. Like, the people who would the largest grade were always the ones in the back. So I guess I did sort of sit in the back in 8th grade. But other than that, I was pretty much mostly just a middle to front seater.
Yeah, I was... Middle is where I had the most fun, because, like, you could, like, reach back and, like, talk to the people in the back, or you could, like, speak to a couple of people, not all... Like, the people all the way at the front are lame, and they don't want to talk to you anyway. But the people that are, like, mostly to the front, usually just, like, they like, don't want to get in trouble, but they'll have a conversation with you.
Yeah.
So, like, you had a lot more options in the middle. But anyway, yeah, like, when I was with the, like, back of the bus people, like, I just let myself be a little more wild. I'd say, like, everything that I thought was funny, but I was, like, afraid to say in front of other people. And then, like, I also just let myself be meaner, because, like, they could take it. And they were, like, you know, like, their style of humor was also, like, insult-based. So it's, like, you know, like, they dished it out. But I was, like, I actually, like, didn't mind, because it's, like, in small doses, it was, like, an outlet for me. Because, like, I could insult them, and, like, they wouldn't take it seriously.
Yeah.
But it also just let me be mean. And then with, like, my normal group of friends, it's like my like, for the most part, my group of friends were either, like, in general, they were, like, people capable of a lot, but not doing that. But also, like, in high school, it was actually slightly different. It did end up being mostly just people that were not as capable as me, but, like, it was mostly just, I think we just related in terms of the media we enjoyed. Like, our hobbies were less sports and more TV. But our humor meshed because of that, because we watched similar media.
Right.
But I could also like, yeah, when I talked to people that were like, you know, getting the highest grades in the midterms, like my psychology class, for example, like, I think we said this last podcast, right? Like he after the midterm, he grouped everybody based on who got like the closest in scores, which didn't really make any sense. But like I wasn't complaining because I was in the top 4.
Oh, wow.
And so I just got put with the smartest people.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like with them, it's like I guess I was just a little bit more reserved because they were like all women, and we all know women cannot handle the rough end of the jokes. It's true. Yeah. But like I don't know. I guess it's just different parts. Like if I like really wanted to like go in depth with a topic, like I definitely couldn't do that with the backbenchers. I'd lose them as soon as I used a word longer than 6 letters. But like even like my other friends, it's like they would try to follow. They wouldn't really like say like nerd or anything, but like it just wasn't really interesting. Yeah. So with them, I just like do my typical jokes, or we talk about media and stuff. And then with like the smart people, like I could actually have like, I don't know, like the kind of philosophical conversations me and Greg have at 12 p.m., 12 a.m.
Yeah.
They weren't as good as you, Greg, though. Gotta say.
I don't think anyone can really compare to Greg like that.
Yeah, but after like 11th grade, I slowly like after I switched, right? Because the other issue is like I'm gonna be honest, like in 9th grade, I was a bit of a pathological liar. Maybe it stemmed from like household issues, but I just wanted to impress people, so I would just lie. But it got to a point where I was keeping up so many lies, and then like when we switched, I was like, I haven't like lied like serious about anything I'd have to keep up with any of the people here, really. Mm-hmm. So let me just try not to do that. And so I did for the most part. I think I lied a couple times, but then I just told Harry. I was like, yeah, by the way, I was just capping. But yeah, like by the time, like I don't remember, but by the time I met Greg, like I just stopped lying in like general, unless it was like white lies or things I just didn't want to open up about. That like I just lie so there wouldn't be a door to an awkward conversation I didn't feel like having.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean the thing is though, like I stopped having a mask, and then I got here, and now the mask is back on because I gotta deal with people that I could never feel comfortable like talking about serious things with. Mm-hmm. So I mean maybe part of it is language barrier related, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. That's fair. That's fair.
I forgot to mention actually. Probably the most impactful friend group I had, I think, was my Oak Ridge friend group, because I think they're the ones that pushed me over the edge from like almost unhinged to full like Joker levels of unhinged. Yeah, because like they were really the ones that like changed like how I started to view like relationships with friends and stuff, because like before that, like it was all like trying to treat it and like make sure that I didn't get too crazy, but like they were like they approved of my insanity and they brought it more and more out of me, because every time I like, let those like, little moments come through, they were like, oh yeah. And I was like, all right.
I like to think I did this with you as well.
Yeah. But they were the ones that like kickstarted that, because
I like to think I still do.
They enabled the craziness to come out. Yeah.
So that was like, I still think like that was one of my best friend groups, just because like they really let me be unhinged as I wanted to be.
and I said I was easily influenced. Greg got influenced by everybody.
I did. I took a long journey to being the crazy person I am today. But
all right, well that was very interesting.
Any other prompts you want to bring up?
That was all I had for props, and probably the last thing I will say. I don't mean to make this any like how to say that was weird. To make this like how to say
sappy, sentimental.
You're not sappy or sentimental or like depressing.
Yeah.
But I was like, honestly, you guys are the boys. I love y'all. And like probably if I didn't have you guys, like if like for some reason everything ended and everything, I lose my family, Banana disappears for some reason, and if I lose you guys, I would just shoot myself.
Damn. Well, but that's like most people. Though. If you lose everything, like
it's not even like I think it's not even like if I lose everything. If I didn't have you guys, if I didn't have like a little sister to look after, if I didn't have someone depending on me, I just wouldn't be here. I would have gave up a long time ago.
Yeah, no, same.
I would have called it quits so quickly, just because it's like it's so pointless to me.
Yeah.
I agree. So what I'm hearing is suicide pact.
Yeah, I was like, this sounds like a suicide pact.
All right, well, I guess so.
I'm glad we're the reason that you're not drinking bleach.
Yeah, to be fair, that group was the reason why I drank bleach twice.
Oh, God.
And I can say, it's not a bad taste. It just makes you not be able to taste for a while.
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, I think one of the bleaches I drank though was like strawberry flavored, and you can kind of taste it, and it was really weird.
That's the strawberry?
I don't know. What
it had like
Wait,
some
why
weird
is
scent.
It strawberry flavored?
Yeah, it had like some weird scent. Like it wasn't just bleach. Like it was like some scented bleach, and so you could taste the flavor, the scenting, and it was really weird.
That's the end of the podcast. Greg, take it away.
I've ingested bleach, but it's always like diluted to small amounts, so I don't know the taste of bleach, but
the podcast has ended. Greg, take it away.
Okay.
Just a long silence. I'm leaving that there. You're welcome.
No, I'll put in some cricket noises. Or cicadas, actually. It's cicadas. As always, thank you so much for dropping in and listening to us ramble. This was
cicadas, actually.
I sort of expected it, but this was a pretty therapeutic episode.
A
lot of introspection. You can find us on youtube.com/@thederailledpodcast. That's youtube.com/@thederailledpodcast. With a new episode every Tuesday. Hit the subscribe button if you want to catch our future episodes, and hit the like button if you liked this podcast. This has been Derailed, and we will see you next time.
Toodles.
Now fuck your toodles.